that I sifted through and picked a few of them that I thought were special, and that I would have her talk about, but she has no idea what these pictures are. So, what do you think of the first picture here?
Well, it's, I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Okay. So, the one and only Momma Worthy Meacham, okay? So let's go ahead and begin, all right? Because we are here to...
Am I blocking anybody? I mean, yeah, right?
Let's back
get
it
in the way.
Let's back it up. Back that thing up. Okay. Beep, beep. All right. So we're here to get to know you better, and I'm so glad that you're here because I asked the class earlier if they've ever been to a show where there was a female impersonator, and there were 5 who raised their hand and said no. And I didn't ask anybody if there was anyone in here who knew a female impersonator personally. Okay, we have just a few.
4.
4. Okay. Did you raise your hand?
Quattro.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
I want to know what the ish is.
Yeah. But this is a great opportunity because a lot of people may have ideas or assumptions about female impersonators. Anybody in the who is a gender variant that may not be accurate. And I thought it'd be great if you can come here and so the class can meet you and get to know you and know the real you, the
Great.
personal
Let's continue
you.
with the slideshow.
Yeah, okay. So, I just had to do that as an approach. Okay, so now, let's go ahead and get it out of the way. Let's talk about the international starlet that you are, Momma. Okay? So these are some images that I found of you performing. And the first question that I have is, looking at this picture, where you're in front of all these people, what is it like to be an icon? And love.
Personally, it's a little joke. I throw that out all the time. Yesterday, I was like, remember, I'm famous, I'm an icon, so I need to be treated a certain way. I can say that to servers. Look, you don't know who I am, really. But I'm an icon, so get your act together. And I want more water and extra chips. Well, the interesting thing, I'm lucky because I stopped being a gay bar drag queen back in 1999 because I found out that I don't dress in drag for a fetish. I dress up because I'm a whore. I'll tell you all about that. It's all about making the money. It's about being the best that you can be, and then selling yourself so you can be at the higher market. And in my area, I'm at the highest market value than the other drag queens that are out there. In fact, we'll get this out of the way. I don't call myself a drag queen. I call myself a gender illusionist. Why? Because I bought 3 apartment buildings doing this. I bought a house, and I get to travel over the world. Drag queens get free drinks at their clubs. Well, it's true. I'm stating the obvious. So, it's lovely. I do very well in huge crowds. There's something in here that I'm not fearful. I don't have any anxiety. I can walk out. You've heard of the Hollywood Bowl in Hollywood, and I've hosted there many times, and about 40,000 people are in that bowl. And so looking up and seeing all these people, that's not hard for me. Walking into a room like this in front of you guys is terrifying to me.
So what is the difference between 40,000 people?
Yeah, because I can pretend that they're not there. Mm-hmm. I can't pretend that they're, So, I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah.
And you all look nice. It doesn't look like you're gonna kill me yet.
That's awesome. How did you break into show business?
Well, a neighbor of mine was a child agent, and I got my SAG card, which is Screen Actors Guild, which allows you to work in movies and television. I got my SAG card in 1969. And so I've been a professional actor since then.
Wow.
Now, I was a fundamentalist Christian, and I went through ex-gay therapy for 12 years, and you can see it worked. The one thing I have to say about that is that, one, I've never met a person that went through ex-gay therapy that ever got healed of homosexuality. They suppress their sexuality, and they might be married to a person, a woman, I mean. They have a family and stuff, but when I talk to them individually, they are in a lot of emotional pain because they're denying who they really are. And I just came to a point in my spirituality that after 12 years of therapy every week and attempting to be somebody else, I said, I can't do that. I can't do that. And so when I came out, I was fine with my spirituality and my sexuality. I was not fine with drag queens. Because in my ex-gay therapy, drag queens were demon-possessed people that God really hated. And so I would see a drag queen walk down the street, and I would have to cross the street because that person is demon-possessed. And if they come close to me, those demons are gonna jump on me and possess me. So I had to, and I really thought that. I really thought that because people that I trusted told me these things. So I finally realized that I had this stupid fear, the way people have fear of clowns or spiders or heights, all those things that really hinder you from moving on with your life. I said, I can't continue to go through life being afraid of something that's so within the community that I'm in. So I decided that I would dress up once in drag and go to an event that all my friends were going to. I was invited. And that night, I won a contest that I did not enter. I was given the name Momma that I never asked for. I tried to change it for years. Nobody would ever let me change it. And all of a sudden, I found myself. So going back to the whore thing. Now, I'm sorry. Does that offend you? That word?
No.
Okay, good. What's your name?
Mary.
Hi, Mary. Mary, you and I are going to be best friends, like BFFs, like ever. I'm going to be your bridesmaid in your wedding. So all of a sudden, I found myself in this situation where I was able to make a whole bunch of money under the table. And doors kind of opened to me. All of a sudden, I was doing ribbon cuttings, and I was doing all these different things in my greater Los Angeles area. All of a sudden, then I could afford to buy all the trinkets that I collected or go on vacation to all the places that I wanted to go on vacation. And so the financial part of it really played a big part of that. Now, after about 2 years, I started volunteering, helping different charities in my local area. Are we?
Yeah, let's not shoot your wad so soon. Pull out for a second. We're gonna see. You're just ahead of the game. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there because I am still interested in knowing about Momma, the international icon, the celebrity. So. Yes, so you told us, I know, you told us how you got into show business as a child actor, and you told us how you developed a comfort in dressing as the opposite gender. Now, let's talk about shows and people that you come across and meet as Momma, wonderful people, and I have some pictures I'd like to show you. Perhaps you can look at these pictures and say what comes to mind, okay? We have quite a few people
I
here.
do. That's Jay Rodriguez. And we've been friends for a long time. He was in the Broadway musical Rent, and then he was Queer Eye with the Straight Guy, and he's continuing to do a whole thing. That's my friend Jim. Lance Bass is a friend of mine, and I've known her, that blonde bombshell, for a long time. Her father cast me as a boy years ago on 90210, and we became friends. And then Tori, I've been to Tori's house, and we do good things.
What's
And then
happening with Tori and Dean?
I know. Well, you'll have to watch the TV show.
Yeah, it's. Please tell her that my.
Talk about horse. They'll do anything for ratings.
Very good. Yes. Well, to let her know that I'm thinking of her. Yeah.
And this is Adam Lambert, who was on American Idol, and when I first started, I had a club called Makeup, and when he was 18, he moved from San Diego up to LA, and he was a backup singer for me. Yeah. So, and I knew he was really talented. Now I hate him. He's a really sweet kid. Really, really sweet.
And who is this person?
Well, that's Alex, who's on Glee.
On Glee, right?
Yeah.
And didn't Glee just have an episode where I think one of the coach, I think, came out as transgender?
Yes.
Transition. Absolutely. And she sang a song. I think it was you should look it up. It's on YouTube. I thought it was very powerful.
Yeah, Alex Mill is a really, he's very together. He's just a very nice and kind person, and he doesn't let anybody put him in a box.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So he's very talented.
Speaking of boxes, we had a conversation earlier about pronouns. When to use she, when to use he. Can you say a little bit about that? So, for example, I refer to him as her, and you refer to him as he.
Right, because it's like when you have the girl stuff on, then maybe you're a girl. Let me just do a little tangent here. Girls wear dresses, boys wear pants. How many girls in this room are wearing dresses right now? So you're all in drag. You're all wearing men's clothes. And most of the women in America dress in drag every day. Women wear dresses, boys wear pants, period. So if you can wear pants, why can't I wear this? And why would you give me shit for wearing this?
Yeah.
It's amazing how people get all upset. I see women all the time that look more like men in their fashion than women. Women can be the most powerful people on the planet, but they choose not to be, because they choose to be a lesser portion of who they are by dressing like men and acting like men. It pisses me off every day. I'm really a feminist in many ways, and when people look at me and they point at me and they say, that is disgusting, but they're wearing a baseball cap. These women are wearing baseball caps, t-shirts, and jeans, and tennis shoes. Well, you're dressed like a lesbian. And your fashion taste is disgusting.
So you love glamour. You love glamour, and you've said this before. We've had conversations about this, but you feel that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that femininity is powerful. It doesn't have to be, and it's not the lesser of the two gender expressions.
I agree 100% with that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, but I do have to say one thing about women choosing to be lesser. Yes, I agree with you, but there's also a thing called society and a patriarchal society that also impressed women.
I agree. I can't believe that the women still don't get paid the same amount of men. It drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
And you are more in our population than the male. And so if you actually went out and voted and said, we want the same pay rate as any other male by doing the same job. You could do it with your vote. But women choose not to. It just drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
Drives me up the wall. So, and dressing like this has really made me see how stupid men are. They see these. Now, these are not real boobs. I hate to disappoint you. But even though I have these on my body, men, they just get crazy. They want to touch them. They want to put their face in here.
Oh my God. I have to tell you that it's so true because I've looked at these. Not that I want to. I'm not speaking for myself at all. I'm just saying, as I was going through your pictures on Facebook, I can't tell you how many pictures you have of people just grabbing onto your breasts. Absolutely. And it's so funny because you are a performer and you're serious about what you do. And it's interesting that people feel like they are free, even though they're not real, but they're free to touch you there and to squeeze you
Yes.
and to,
Yes.
you as a performer,
And don't think I don't teach them a lesson.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because you don't think that these are of value because they're maybe artificial, doesn't mean they aren't of value to me. So
Because you
step
paid
back.
a lot of money for that.
Well, not really. It's just Nerf footballs.
All right, here's another picture. Here we have. Tell me about this. I love this picture. I saw. It's so funny because as I was going through your pictures, there were hundreds of celebrities that I could have picked and so forth. And I mean, so I kept going back and forth, and I kept going to this one over and over and over, and I just love this picture. I love how together you two look. I love his facial expression. Tell us something about this picture.
It's kind of funny because when I heard that Robin had killed himself, I wasn't surprised. And I talked to one of his daughters, and she said, at least he's at peace, and now we're at peace. Because when you're dealing with somebody who's always on the verge of suicide, you're kind of relieved now it's over, and so that made me not sad, but just now looking at his picture, I became friends with Whoopi Goldberg early on, like in 1995, like 20 years ago. And so she would invite me over to her house or to her events, and Robin would come over and talk to me, and we'd have very serious conversations, about life and what's going on. And whenever he would see me, he would like beeline it right to me, and he was just so loving and so kind. And two of his daughters and I are friends, and so he was a really he was a really funny person, but he was really tortured. And most comedians kind of are, except for me.
You torture others. But
I do.
All right. So again, I love this picture. Now, because today's topic was on working with transgendered individuals, I had them watch some videos that Calpurnia Adams posted because she's a huge advocate
Yes.
for the trans community. So I found this picture of you and Calpurnia here. But I was able to meet Calpurnia because of you, and that was really nice. So, but what is going on with that face right there?
Well, it was a mommy dearest night.
Yes.
No wire hangers and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
you can't smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so the whole transgender thing is something that I was never exposed to, really. And when I started meeting people in Los Angeles, there was an area that was always filled every evening with transsexual prostitutes. And that was their only way of kind of making a living, and I would look at them and I'd be like, you you're disgusting, in Jesus' name. And, but then I started to get to know people, and it really made a difference. And meeting Calpurnia was a huge change in my life. And it also came at the same time that one of my best friends told me that he was going to transition into a woman. And the funny thing was is that nobody was surprised. And we're like, oh, yeah, I guess. I mean, we didn't say, oh, we knew that was going to happen, but we're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And so that's what really got me involved in being an advocate for transsexual, because gay and lesbians are, we're fighting a lot, and we're letting people know about who we are in our community, and we're standing up and being proud. But most of the time, when somebody transitions, they go stealth. They change their name, they change their city, and they start a new career, and nobody knows that they were ever a different gender. Unfortunately, there's certain people that can never go stealth, but they're just being who they are. Yeah. And so Calpurnia is very intelligent. He used to be in the Navy, and he was in charge of all the nuclear bombs in the submarines. He was the person that would, turn the key and press the button. And when you see pictures of him and then you see pictures of her, it's hard to see the same person. And I've traveled with Calpurnia speaking in different places around the country, and she's a really important person in my life.
And I know that she's a huge advocate. I see a lot of the work.
Well, she's one of the few people in America that's really out there saying, I'm a transsexual, and here's what you do. And also, so many people that want to transition email her and her partner, Andrea. They have a business together, and they help people how to talk differently, how to walk differently, and become more feminine.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we're going to transition. And we're going to talk about Momma, the advocate. Because again, going through your pictures, I noticed that you first of all, you have lots of fans. You have 2 Facebook pages, and both of them are filled to capacity with fans, thousands of people who have liked you. And
are you listening, Nima?
Yeah.
On Instagram too.
Yeah, and on Instagram. I don't know what other social media you're on, and I know that as an entertainer, you're in front of thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, and you know a lot, and you travel, and anyway, you have a voice. You have a very strong voice, and so as I was going through your Facebook page, I noticed that you had so many of these memes on, but for different causes, and it's not just raising awareness on lesbian and gay issues or raising awareness on transgender issues, but you also, talk a lot about women's rights and voting and AIDS awareness. So say a little bit more about the work that you do as an advocate.
Well, I guess it all started with AIDS. I personally lost 100 people to the AIDS virus. I'm very pumped. And but 100 people. I went to over 100 funerals between 1984 and recently a friend of mine just died of AIDS like 3 weeks ago. And so you might be able to take your meds, but that still doesn't stop that virus from eventually taking your life. So I've done a lot of work trying to get the word out there and trying to educate people. And the sad thing is that young people today, even though they know about it, it will never affect them. So why use a condom? Why be safe? And then they do. I know a lot of young people under the age of 20 that have HIV.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they just choose not to be safe. And
well, they did not grow up during the AIDS crisis. Right. I did. As a young boy, I was exposed to it, and I've always been fearful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that has really impacted my own sexuality and my own sexual behavior. So, but young people today, they're not part of that crisis.
Right.
Yeah, so I hear you on that. So, but what about your fundraising? Tell us about how much money you've raised to help these causes.
Well, I have not tallied up how much, I never got into doing charity work to say, hey, I've done all of this. But two organizations got together and they told me that I have raised over $9.5 million for AIDS, for breast cancer, and for gay teens. The numbers change, but kids that are in the LGBT spectrum commit suicide more than most young teens. And in America, that is the leading cause of teens death in America. Now, you don't find that statistic anywhere else on the planet. You don't find it at all in Canada, which is our neighbor. But in Japan, kids commit suicide because their grades aren't high enough, because they haven't done the right thing for their family, so they commit suicide. But here, most kids commit, or a large part of the spectrum of kids that kill themselves are in the GLBT thing, and people that live in religious areas would never want people to know that their son or daughter felt that way, and so it's not really registered. But the ones that are, it's still a very high number. So that's
and I actually think the number may be even higher because it doesn't take into consideration the high rate of substance abuse, drug and alcohol abuse, and those who die from overdoses that are, they're defined as, they died as a result of an overdose and not through suicide.
And then I just want to say that Sally Ride, our lovely astronaut, she was a lesbian. And her and her partner were together for 22 years, but she could never tell NASA or anybody about that, because if she did, she would never be able to go to the moon, because one, she was a woman, and two, she was a lesbian. And so I think that women, again, have to move forward and stand up. Just because you have a vagina doesn't mean you're not worth more. And I just want to make sure that women move forward in the spectrum. And then, of course, we all know about the Holocaust and the Jews, but again, the people that were first picked up were the gay people and the gypsies in concentration camps. And so on Remembrance Day, I wanted everybody to remember all the gay and lesbian people that were killed in the concentration camps. And here's the horrible thing, and this is a fact, you can look it up. When the camps were liberated, when they were finding out who was in there, they put all the gay men with the pink triangles back into the camps. Unbelievable, but history doesn't tell us that. Yeah. Because gay men don't count. Yeah, that's horrible. I mean,
absolutely. There's so much about gay history.
Yeah.
I don't even know about.
Well, right, because it's never taught in our schools. Where blah blah blah.
And it is a very amazing, rich, and heart-wrenching
just like
history.
any culture, any broad spectrum of people, there's people in every area, that have done some great things. Has anybody seen The Imitation Game? Nobody. Wow. Well, it's a really important movie to see. It's a great movie. It's very entertaining, but it's about a man who is the father. He built the very first computer. And he was gay. And when the government found out that he was gay, he could either go to prison or they chemically neutered him. And then he committed suicide because he just couldn't continue.
Oh, you just ruined the movie for us.
I know. But it is a proven fact that he, by creating this machine that solved the what the Nazis were using to
the Enigma machine.
The Enigma machine. over 2 million lives were saved by what they did. Because the war would have lasted another 4 years, I think it was. And because we knew about the information, we were able, D-Day was able to happen because we solved the Enigma machine, and we knew that that beach was going to be safer than any other area in the south of France there. You know, and
So
he's
he
the one.
saved millions of lives.
Millions of lives. And just
He
think,
was
I mean,
discarded.
Britain was on the verge of bankruptcy and starvation. America was sending all this food over, but the Nazis were bombing their ships, and so Britain wasn't getting any food, and so they were months away from starving to death. And with that, how can you win a war? So it's just unbelievable.
Well, we need to read up on our gay history because there's so much that we don't know, including myself. All right, thank you for that. We're going to move on to Momma the Patriot. Talk about your love of America. Absolutely, you are the most patriotic, and I'm saying this wholeheartedly, honestly. You are the most patriotic person that I have ever met in my whole entire life.
I don't know how many of you have actually studied American history and what the founding fathers really tried to do for this country, but they did an amazing job of doing great things that make our government really powerful and wonderful for us. And so, I am so thankful that I was born here, and I'm so thankful to support the men and women that protect us, whether it's the police or the military or whoever. And I'm really thrilled that I can dress like this and not be arrested now, because up until 1972 I could be thrown in jail for dressing up like this. And so I just, I see something patriotic and I'm all.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's
Okay, so
embarrassing.
we go to Walt Disney World and we go to the what's it, the Hall of Presidents? Yeah, totally.
American Adventure.
Yes.
Yeah, a mess.
Yeah. And how were you yesterday, President's Day? You were telling everybody that you saw on the street, it's President's Day, it's President's Day.
Yes, go see American Adventure.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. Now we're moving on to, let's see what's next. Oh, Momma the Stud Magnet. Lord, this is another thing that I saw. I was like, every other picture was you with these hot men. Like, what?
Well, I'm not dumb.
What perfume do you use? I mean, how do you
Well,
attract
I
all these
mean,
men?
okay, going back to being a whore, I hire most of these people, and I give them a paycheck at the end of the night, so they have to be nice to me.
They do, they do.
But, I'm just known to be, I don't do drugs, I really don't drink. When I work, I'm very professional, and so I'm very kind and generous to all the people that work for me and stuff, and so people appreciate that, you know?
Yeah. So what do you call these followers of yours?
I don't know, delicious. Very right. Delicious.
But you have another,
Mama's boy? I don't know.
It's
Okay.
Mama's Boys. Mama's Boys. I mean, how could you not remember that? Okay, moving on. And now we're gonna move away from Momma and learn about Worthy, the man behind.
Now, I
this
just want to
beautiful-
say that I'm Worthy Paul Meacham III. So that's on my birth certificate and everything. So
Okay.
now, in California, people move to California from like Ohio, and they come up with these names. Like, my name is Charlie, but I call myself, Jeff. All right, Charlie, I'll just call you Charlie.
Very good. So let's get to know Worthy
All right.
Paul Meacham the third. So this is a beautiful picture. I love this picture. You look very hot here.
No makeup.
Okay.
No makeup.
All right, so let's see what's next here. Tell us about your interests. And this is one of
And
them.
the person in pink is Eric Johnson, by the way.
No,
That's
it's
the-
not.
That's the first day I met him.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah,
Okay.
when I didn't like him.
Yeah.
Well, I have this Disney addiction. So I live in California, and I go to Disneyland twice a week. I've been there over 2,700 times, and I need help.
Yeah. Yes. Ask him anything
Yeah,
about
I know everything.
the parks, Walt Disney
Yeah.
World, any movie. I mean, how many times have you seen Frozen?
87 times.
Oh.
I let it go. I haven't watched it in like 8 weeks.
We're gonna watch it tonight with Lucia. Okay, so.
No, it's just interesting, why people ask me why, but Disney does what it does, and they're the best at what they do. We went to Universal, and Diagon Alley is amazing. It's probably the best amusement park land
Yes,
in
actually.
America. In America. But we went to both parks. We had a park hopper, and we were there for 7 hours, and we had seen everything we wanted to see because it's not Disney. So we spent 6 days at Walt Disney World, and I'm paying for it.
Yes.
Because
I noticed. Well, first of all, what's going on with your shoes?
well, my feet are killing me. So
we went to the shoe store yesterday.
yeah, but I
to
bought
buy-
these yesterday.
You did, but that's.
You can see that
yeah.
this foot is very swollen.
Yeah.
So I just didn't want to. It was raining. I didn't want to walk in heels in the
Mhm.
mud. You know, girls. You know what it's like. So I thought these were smart and sort of fun.
Yeah, and they match actually.
And the funny thing is, they, well, no, today was at Walgreens because I'm a senior. I got 20% off. But these were normally $32, and with the sale that was going on President's Day and everything, I got it for $8.
Yeah, you can-
Right?
Yeah.
So $8, where must throw them away?
I know.
Fantastic.
So frugal.
So I love Disney. I'm one of the people that helped produce Gay Days at Disneyland. I perform. I mean, all the cast members at the Disneyland Resort all know me, and a lot of people at Walt Disney World know me. And
I'm telling you, it is an adventure going to the parks with Worthy because I mean, you walk in there and no joke, it's like, stop! Do you see that brick on the floor? That brick was transported from Italy by hand by Walt Disney himself. Do you see that light bulb right over there? That represents the trinity of Disney, Mickey, and anyways. I learned some. Well, okay. Right. So I learned a lot about.
I
Disney
do
because
know
of-
like almost anything. I know more than most Imagineers that build the parks. I've had an annual pass for 32 years, and of course I've been there so many times. So people from Imagineering call me and say, "What happened? What was this? When did this happen?" I'll say, "Well, that happened this time, and this is what it was, and you can find it here."
Okay. All right. So let's move on. Oh, by the way, Nima, you made it.
Yeah.
did.
So this is my
That's
friend
Nima
Nima.
right here.
Hi.
And that was the first moment that I met him.
Aww.
Yeah, we met on Leap Day, and so who am I?
Leak Day William.
From 30 Rock. I don't know if you saw that episode.
Oh.
So Disney had a 24-hour party. So this is Nima. This is one of my best friends, Eric, and that's him, and he's here right now in at Walt Disney World. And I couldn't stand him. I was like, that's the trashiest looking dragon.
But what does he do for you?
He makes all my outfits now. But of course I have.
Don't burn bridges, right? Because your outfits are fantastic. Okay, so now let's see what's next here. We can learn a little bit more about Worth. Who is this? Dapper looking man.
That's my boyfriend, Douglas.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like him.
He
Okay,
doesn't look
so
like it
anyway.
anymore. That was like in the 80s.
He's what?
That was back in the 80s.
Oh, I thought you said he's in his 80s. I'm like, really? Wow! All right, so tell us a little bit more about you and Doug.
Well, it's so funny. When I met Doug, I don't know how many, like 15 years ago, we hated each other.
There's a lot of that going
Doesn't
on. I
Well,
hated
Doug-
you when I met you.
Very well. Doug was one of those closeted Republican, self-hating, it's hard to be a Democrat and self-hating, homosexuals. And we were at this dinner one night, and he said, I would come out and be gay if it wasn't for those drag queens and all those leather people. They disgust me. And because I'm not shy, I literally stood up from the table, and everyone was like, oh. And I just gave him a brief history, because the people that started the modern gay movement were drag queens, transvestites, transsexuals, prostitutes. And because they started a riot at Stonewall Bar in Greenwich Village, they started what we call now the modern gay movement.
Yep.
And they
That's
rioted.
a part of history I am familiar with.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I embarrassed the hell out of him, and he got up and left the dinner that we were at. And he moved away for a long time, and then he came back, and then we were working at the LA Marathon. And he looked familiar, but I couldn't place him and stuff. I thought he was cute. So I was flirting with him. He did not get it. And so I said, we need to become friends on Facebook, because I don't really do Facebook. And well, let me, accept my request, and I'll send you my phone number. Well, he never did anything. That was in March. And then during my 4th of July show, he came to see it, but he didn't tell me that he was coming. I came upstairs to where I greet my guests, and he was there. I'm like, what are you doing here? Are you having lunch? He's like, I just saw your show. And he's a big guy, and so you can see him in the audience, but of course he picked the one seat in the darkest corner. I couldn't see him. And so I'm flirting with them, and he's not getting it. And I have to go greet other people, and so I walk away. And I go, stay here for a moment, I'll be right back. And he said, no, I have to leave. And I go, okay, I'll talk to you later. And I thought, I'm never going to see him again. So I turned right back around. I said, wait, you are going to date me. You're going to go on 3 dates with me. And then after that, you can decide, but we're going to go on 3 dates.
Bye, Andrew.
It's been 5 years.
Yeah. That was powerful, because I want to date you now.
So, one of the fun things that I've been doing for 20 years is I work with LA Opera. I'm their drag queen that they use, and so I'll be doing the opera Pagliacci again this fall, where I get to play the Italian prostitute Giolina. In fact, my friend Eric, who's in the corner over there in the plaid shirt, he met me in Washington, D.C. in 1997 when I was doing Pagliacci with Franco Zeffirelli and Placido Domingo. We had a lot of fun together on stage, and so he lives here now, and so
Yeah.
you can ask him how amazing I am.
Now, I have not yet to meet Doug, but I look forward to meeting him one day. If you can bring him out to Orlando
Yeah.
one day.
Or we go to LA.
Oh, we go to LA, yes. Okay, so let's see. What? Tell us about Christmas.
I have 23 Christmas trees.
This is his house, by the way.
I'm one of those people. So I have all this, I have Christmas, I have a Hanukkah bush, I have winter wonderland, I have winter solstice, and Kwanzaa. I have the Miss Kwanzaa contest.
And I know that every year you put out an announcement looking for
People that
workers that
yeah.
can come to your house. And
Right.
how many days does it take for you to put all of this up?
Well, it depends. I pay people to put up all the trees and put all the lights on, because that stuff sucks. But then I just put crates of ornaments where each theming is, and then people can come by and help put on ornaments.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've actually been to your house during Christmas time. I have seen all of your decorations, your trees and ornaments and trains and everything. And it's just, it's a museum. And then you walk in there, it's just amazing. And you know, for a long time, this is something people don't know, and I don't know if you remember, but every Christmas you would send us
Oh yeah.
Christmas ornaments. They were
Yeah.
always pink. Until I had to say stop already, because our Christmas tree does not have pink. Okay, so but now
Okay, you could have a pink tree.
Well, now they go to Lucia.
They
So
go to Lucia.
we have a special tree for Lucia that has a ton of pink ornaments.
Yes.
And Momma.
So we pull it all out. Exactly, it's a Momma tree. Okay.
Right.
So wonderful, love it. But you don't do anything half-ass. I just learned that about you, and everything about you is
Really?
spectacular and glamorous. So I love that.
I love that. I'm spectacular and I'm glamorous. Thank you.
Now let's see. Tell us about this picture.
Well, I'm an ordained minister.
And how embarrassing it is that you're wearing the same outfit.
I
I just want to point that out. That is quite embarrassing, but go ahead.
Well, I wore this because this is the classic Momma look, so I gave it the classic Momma look. So yeah, so it's, you know, I really take marriage seriously. You know, I think so many people just don't get what marriage is really about. So I marry people that I feel should get married. You know, I won't marry you just because you're paying me an amount of money. So.
Yeah. And so you're a minister. You're an ordained
I am
minister.
an ordained minister.
Absolutely, yeah. So wonderful. Now that Florida has recognized marriage equality, hopefully
February
you would bless
13th.
us. Yes, February 13th. Thank you. Good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
What?
What?
Oh, come on.
Well, we're not officially married yet, but we will be.
Hey, we've been together 16 years. What the heck do you want?
I don't know. I want you to ask. Don't assume.
They already have rings and everything.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Here's now. You know what? Okay, you were not expecting this at all. I know at all. But I was looking through your pictures, and you know, you talk about your brother. His brother recently broke his leg, and I've never met your brother. I don't know anything about your brother other than, you know. And so I saw a picture of him and you, and so I'm like, oh, well, let me go on his Facebook page, and he is like the opposite. The opposite of you. I mean, he could not be any more different. This was chicky babies and
This is my niece. This is my niece.
I mean, you could
Her
not
father.
get any more
Really?
different.
Really?
I mean, he was all about ultimate fighting and
yeah.
rock bands and, you know, I don't know what was going on there, but tell me, how was it growing up with your brother?
Horrible.
Horrible?
It was horrible. We literally are black and white. And
I can see that.
you know, the history of us growing up together, our parents would tell you that it was night and day, the child that I was, the child that he was, you know. But in recent years, we've actually become very close. And TFA stands for Total Fighting Alliance. He's one of 3 people in the state of California that are licensed to do mixed martial art fighting in an arena thing. And so I'm the one who is in charge of the box office and the concession stands that sell drinks, food, and shirts and stuff like that. So, and the funny thing is that it's kind of a hard crowd. The nicest people you would ever want to meet. I swear, they are the sweetest guys, and their families, they bring their kids. I mean, brings their kids to this. I don't know. But it's really interesting. And my brother is very talented in matching up the right people so that you don't see people getting killed in the cage. And you might get a bloody nose every once in a while, but that's even rare. And so it's all about how they fight and how they throw things, and they get points for all that stuff. And it's very entertaining.
How does it feel about you and what you do and growing up and today?
Well, my brother always knew that I was gay. You know, and I don't think he was ever really ashamed of me. Maybe I wasn't cool enough because I was a born-again Christian who was, saying you're going to hell. So he was more concerned about that than who I was. But we lived in a within the greater Los Angeles area, there's small communities. And I grew up in a town called Hermosa Beach, which is a very small, it's 1.5 miles long, 1 mile wide, right? But it's always competing with New York for having the most population per square mile in the country. It's just tons of people. Luckily, we lived a block away from the ocean. It was a great childhood. But my father was a mayor when I was young. And so we always had, we were always very connected in the community. So I was the child who would go and do the prayer at the council meeting and, do community stuff. And my brother was the one who was tagging, buildings and shooting at people. My brother has been arrested 42 times.
Whoa.
Never went to jail. Because he's just so smart. He just has been able to, I didn't even know about this because it was always like, hush it, don't tell your mom, but,
okay.
Luckily, he actually had children. He has 3 daughters, and he became a very good father.
Oh, and they're beautiful girls.
And
so
he, so, when he became a dad, that all changed. It was very interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, he looks like a very nice guy, actually, and it's rough exterior.
He's very funny.
Yeah, he looks
really
like
funny.
a very nice guy, and I feel like I would like him a lot. Like I like you. Okay. So let's see.
Oh my gosh.
These are old pictures. I was trying to find more old pictures, but where are you in
God.
these?
Oh, well, there I am, right there. Look at how cute I was. Oh, I'm so cute. And here I am down in Mexico doing a Christmas thing. And there I am right there. I don't know what that's from. I don't know. That was my good Christian days.
Yeah, because you were
Bible college.
Yeah, I know you were actively involved in the church growing up. We've talked about that before. Okay, so I thought I'd embarrass you a little bit and show all the pictures of you. Now,
Lucia.
who's your favorite?
Lucia.
Lucia? Yeah. Who's your second favorite? I'll accept that.
Well, Andrew.
Thank you, Mama.
Oh, okay. So that was the end of that. So now we're gonna go into.
That's the end. Get out.
That's the end of that. I don't want to know anymore.
In all honesty, Sam has been a huge influence on my life. Is that something happening?
It just felt like.
He has taught me a lot, and he has challenged me. We were saying on the way over, there are certain people that challenge you just to challenge you, just to be an asshole. Sam always makes me think about what I say and how I feel. It's so funny because as liberal as I think I am, I still have so many prejudices. And they're not like black and white, men and women. They're cultural, and economic. And he has taught me so much about that I've become such a better person because I knew him. And that's true. It's true. And let me say that very few people I can say that about in my life. because normally I'm the smart one. And the pretty one.
Oh, you read.
All right.
Okay, so, all right, thank you for that. That's wonderful. I'm glad
Sure.
you told them because they need to know that too.
Dr.
Okay, all right,
Sandra, we could
yes.
say the same about you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
I'm serious.
yeah, thank you. By the way, Sarah, who just spoke right now, it knows Matt Terry.
I had lunch with him yesterday,
Yeah.
so we'll talk.
Okay, so I have some questions from the audience
Yes.
that I'd like to ask, and you've answered some of these already. For example, there was one question about your spiritual identity. Let me see, maybe we can elaborate on this a little bit more. In terms of religion and spirituality, how do you identify, and has your place of worship been supportive? Yeah, go ahead and.
So I truly identify as a Christian. I became a born-again Christian in 1979. I was raised Catholic, and I believe that I really experienced the baptism of the Holy Spirit in 1979, and I would say that Jesus Christ has been the most influential person in my life, and a lot of the reason why I've done so many things is because I believe that I'm supposed to give back and all that stuff. I think fundamentalism in any religion is off. So we look at Al-Qaeda, they're fundamentalist Muslims, you know, and the Jews and whoever, you know, and I think that when you reach out to people, I would say that in my journey, I've led more people to Christ by being who I am than when I was a minister. You know, because people see that that path works for me.
You know, that just reminded me of a text that we received yesterday from a young person who was transitioning and wanted to thank you personally.
Yeah.
Do you remember that text?
Well, if you get my phone, it's not a text, it's an email.
Oh, it's an email.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was such a nice email.
You know, so I raised all that money, right? And the great thing about, thank you, honey, about this journey is that you never start off saying, I want to change lives or I want to raise money. But if you continue being consistent and being good at what you do, things happen and you affect people. And in your practices, you never know what you say to a person that will really click with them to transition the next chapter into their life and cause them to be free. So many young people or people that are transgendered just feel so lost because there's nobody out there to, you know. So this is an email I got this morning. It said, you made me better. You made me a better me. Hi, Mama, I just want to say hi and tell you that you are one of my biggest heroes. I remember meeting you when I was in high school at the True Colors Conference. I'll go back to that in a moment. At the time, I wasn't really comfortable with myself. I wasn't sure what or where I was going to be in the future. Scared and unsure of what laid ahead, or just around the river bend for me. I continued to read all your posts on Facebook, and they just made me feel better because I was able to see that it was getting better. Now, I've moved out of my foster home and live in Boston. I would like to thank you for indirectly being there for me and giving me someone to look up to. I have one question for you, and it goes on about what advice I would give him in drag.
Mhm.
But I've gotten thousands of messages from people over this 22-year journey. The gift of being authentic is such a great gift. When you stop trying to be who your family wants you to be, or what you think your community wants you to be, and you lay that down, all that energy that you use to try to be somebody else, you can direct that to being yourself and doing good. And so I don't have Like, I am myself 24/7. And that is such a gift. And because I do that, young people and other people see that in me and they want to follow me. I attract a lot of people. And it's not because I dress like this or I look so great. It's because I have a level of confidence. I walk into a room and I have confidence. And people are attracted to other confident people. People are attracted to people who feel safe with who they are because they want to be like that. So,
I have to say, that is so true because the first time my mother ever met you as Worthy, and that is Momma. This is actually tonight's other friend that she's ever met Momma.
His mother freaked out. She loved me. Why do you dress like that all the time? You're much prettier. Right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
She didn't get the whole process of becoming Momma. She
Yeah.
didn't see that part.
My mother, bless her heart. Yeah. But anyways, I remember the first time she met you, it was last year.
Yeah, September.
And she came to me and she goes, "Who is that person?" And I go, "Why?" Worthy, Frank, because you were staying with us, and
Yeah.
she was there too, and she goes, "He is the most proud person I've ever met." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" And she says, "The way that you walk, the way that you talk." She says that you just walk into a room, and it's true. I have never seen you slouch. I was just thinking about that the other day. Well, there you go. But you do. You have this presence, and every time you walk into the room, your head is high, and and people feel that, and it's evident because my mother instantly was like, "Who is this person?"
Pride can be a good or bad thing.
Yeah.
And I know who I am, and I'm not ashamed to be who I am. And Nima has seen, like, we went to Universal Studios, and I got all the waitresses in the Leaky Cauldron to come around, and they wanted to introduce themselves
Yeah.
to me, and then now they're following.
And we got free dessert. I was there too.
We got free. Oh,
Yeah, I was
nice.
there,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah. Nima got you in for free. That's great. And but it's just because I have that type of personality that I'm open.
Yeah. Yeah. I want you to answer this question. I
Oh,
love this
God.
question. I don't know the answer to this, so I am. What was, this is really good, whoever asked us, thank you. What was the best relationship that you've ever been in, and why?
Well, I would say my very first relationship
Mm-hmm.
was the best because it was puppy love, and we weren't really in reality because we didn't have to be. We were young and parents were paying for everything and everything, and so there was never the stress of reality on our relationship. So, I would say that was the best because of that. But this relationship with Doug has been very interesting. We're very opposite. We're very opposite, but we're also very much alike. And so it's just great to surrender to him because I trust him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to be right all the time, although I am. And it's so Nima, do you think we have a healthy relationship?
Oh,
No,
there was a
I
pause.
would.
What was that about?
No, I would. Both very strong personalities.
Very,
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's very few people I think that can kind of stop you in your tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the amazing thing. He actually
Yeah.
stops me in my tracks, and I don't think I've found any because I'm a bull in China closet. With these tits knocking everything over. So So
Okay, yeah, very good. Here's another good question. What has been the most, and I love, because this is their exact wording, what has been the most positive experience you have had as a gender illusionist? Look.
you know, that's hard because my life is very blessed. I get to do things that people dream of, and I get to meet celebrities, I get to go to amazing things, I get to go places that the public is not allowed in. But I think there's nothing better than actually meeting somebody and having a true one-on-one experience. And I have these experiences a lot. I call them divine moments, that God has led me to a person, and it can be either in or out of drag, and I know something about them that they need to hear, and I point at them and I deliver that message, and their life changes. And you know, it's not like you owe me $500. I wish it was. But you know, it's one of those things like you've been stuck in this area because of this, this, and this, and you need to turn around and go back to where you were going. You know, so many of us are going down a path, and we want to go to where it's leading, and then you know, somebody dies, or job, relationship, and we turn around and we sort of backtracking, and then we find ourselves way back to where we were 5, 10 years ago. And we just need to let go and go back on the journey that we're supposed to do.
Well, I have another question here that I think is very interesting.
I'll see.
Yeah, well, actually, it's not from anybody in the class, but it's just something that I thought about, because you are a great celebrity, and in the tradition of other great celebrities like Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian, Pamela Anderson, is there a sex tape of you?
No. I joke about that a lot because,
Good mama.
you know, I'm sure maybe you have never heard of X2, but I go on X2 every once in a while, and I find some of my friends that have accounts on there. They're doing things that I'm like, can you actually do that? You know, and so, yeah, no.
No sex tapes?
No.
'Cause you know
I've been asked to be a part of porn. For a long time, I worked with the porn industry to help raise money for porn stars, for health and stuff like that. The porn industry is so sad in some ways because you're young. There's a very famous porn star director who goes to the Midwest, and they find young people that are just coming out that have beautiful bodies, and they say, come to Hollywood and we're going to make you a porn star. And they come out, and then they start saying, hey, try a little crystal meth, try a little cocaine, and within 6 months these kids are addicted. And so they are stuck in Los Angeles having to do whatever they're told to just get their next drug dose. And so when they finally try to get out of that, they need rehab, they need help, they need sobriety. And so I help, for many years, I helped raise a lot of money for those people.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to, we're at the time, but you know, I'll go back to any of these questions, but I want to give a chance for anyone to ask a live question right now that, you know.
Be a live studio audience, please.
Yeah.
What were your parents' reactions?
Well, my father had died many years before, and my mother said to me, do you really want to be a girl? And I said, no. I go, I'm just doing this for entertainment. And she would come to my shows, and she would laugh so hard. She's like, I totally get it, you know? And here's the thing, some of my family is very religious. And so a lot of them were like, you are, you know, demon possessed, all that stuff, right? And, but, you know, I'm the only one in my family, and I have a large base of cousins and second and third cousins that have really done something mentionable with my life. You know, I raised all that money. I'm a spokesperson. The state of California, the city of Los Angeles, the city of Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, Long Beach, all these different communities I worked in have given me multiple awards because of my service to the community, and not just to the GLBT community, but to the community at large. You know, so now all these people are like, great, you know, I don't know how many of you came from a religious background that was really harsh, but all these parents that have all these religious fundamentalism, their kids are all fucked up. You know, they are all, you know, getting pregnant out of wedlock, they're on drugs, they're doing this, and so, you know, the Bible says, you know, get your house in order and don't judge others until your house is in order. And so I said, you have no right to judge me for what I've done, because look at my resume, look at what I've done. So, and I had, my mother had died, and I invited all my relatives over for dinner. I had it catered. And I said, before we eat, I'm going to tell you that you are not going to talk trash about me anymore. So, if you don't want to be in my life and you're going to talk shit about me, you're welcome to leave. Because I'm a good host, the caterers came out the door and they had all their meals packed up to give to them. I said, I never want to get a Christmas card from you. I don't want to go to your fucking children's wedding. I don't want to fuck off and die. You are dead to me. In Jesus' name. And all those people that walked away that day have all come back into my life. And they're all very supportive of me. I think we understand more and more that not everyone is black and white, and that we all have a spectrum, a journey to go on. And you see a lot of people in the GLBT community using drugs and alcohol and sex, all these things, just to try to mend the wounds that their church, their family, their community have given to them. And I think as we all grow older and grow up and see life the way it really is, I think we become more understanding. So.
Okay. Other questions?
When you were not in costume, how much of Momma seeps into your daily life?
Let's ask Nima.
I think as a man, Worthy could care less about his appearance. He is, I mean, pretty far away in a lot of ways. The diva's still there, you know. Some of the personality traits are still there. But.
The interesting thing is, I wear acrylic nails, and I wear them. I've worn them for the past like 16 years. And the reason why I wear them is because I never want to go back in the closet. I never want to get on an airplane and pretend I'm somebody that I'm not. So this says, you are not normal. And I have amazing conversations with people. When people see my pictures, like, oh my God, you're fantastic. You know, but that's the way. There's so many people that claim that they've never met a gay person, that they don't know anything about it, they've only heard horrible things. And when they meet me and see what I've done with my life, it's a positive thing that I can help my community with.
And I can say that as Worthy, you have a very strong personality. You're on 24 hours a day. You wake up in the morning, you have a strong personality, you know, you do it throughout the day, at night, you know, you're just you, and you have a strong personality as Momma as well.
It's interesting, because I wouldn't say that I did, but I guess I do. But I'm staying with Sam and Andrea, and you know, I just want to go lay on the couch and watch TV. And people in the past go, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I don't have to be on, you know. And there's a certain part of life to protect me that I have to put a little force field up to walk through areas that I might get shunned at. So.
Okay. Other.
Who and how did like Momma become created? Like who came up with that name? And then like, how did you materialize like the personality? And when you were thinking about changing it, what were you trying to change it to?
So the first night that I dressed in drag, so I used to look like a biker. I had long, dark auburn hair that came down to here, past my shoulders. I had a full beard, And I wore black leather jackets, black jeans, black shirts, because I was trying to be a man. And so the first time I ever did drag, I started shaving my beard off, and I almost had a heart attack because, of course, your masculinity is in your beard. And so I just kept a Van Dyke. Does anybody know what a Van Dyke is? Good for you. I love it. Most people are ignorant. A Van Dyke is a mustache and a goatee. And so I shaved. So the first time I ever did drag, I had a Van Dyke, and I had makeup, and so doing drag for me was never about being a woman. It was always about being a personality. So the night that I won that contest, the person who was leading the contest said, "Tell me your name," and I didn't have a name, and so I said, "Well, sweetheart, I'm old enough to be your mother." And he turned to the audience and he said, "How many people think Momma should be in the contest?" And everyone screamed. So that's how I got the name, and I can't tell you how many ways that I try to change it, but I go to any part of the world, whether it's in Europe or America or Mexico, wherever I've gone, and people see me and they go, "Momma." So there I am.
Andrew and I went to Peru, and there were people who knew Momma. Yes.
I was on a couple of TV shows on E that are really big in Latin America E that we haven't seen in America for decades, but they just play them all over. So everyone knows Momma down there. And what was the other part of the question?
When you were trying to change it, what did you want to change?
I can't remember. So there was another part of that question I didn't.
How did you materialize the personality?
It just sort of happened. This silhouette, I used to work for the world famous designer Bob Mackie for 21 years. And the person that was in charge of his workroom, that's how gay I am. So I've seen like Cher, Diana Ross, Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, all those people in their underwear. And so the head person in charge of the workroom sort of created the silhouette. And the reason why the boobs were so big is because I've lost like 93 pounds since Momma started. But I have all these costumes that can't really reduce the boobs. So the stomach's flatter, but my ass is gone because I'm white. And I've got an ass, and I have the same boobs, which are double out. Thank you.
Yeah. So what does your boobs have to do with your personality? And how it manifests?
You have to ask?
You didn't ask the question. Oh, okay, never mind.
So I mean, it's just it's just one of those things with the name Momma. Then you start saying things that your mama would do, like when people get up and go to the bathroom, I say, "Wash your hands." Just things like that.
I have to say, though, that part of Worthy's personality is that he's a nurturing individual. He cares about people. And I think that as Momma, it's really just open. There's an open channel for that. For those, it's more than just washing your hands. I mean,
Right. Yeah. The other really interesting thing, this has been the best thing that has ever happened to me, because I took some of my biggest fears, and by walking out in public, I've conquered them. And so the things that would hold me back don't hold me back anymore. And people will come up and talk to me. They'll talk to her that they would never talk to Worthy. And so I have the most interesting moments with people, that want to talk to me about stuff. So.
Well, let's do
He has one more question.
One last question.
Actually, mine was what name would you have chosen?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's do one last question, and then what I'd like to do is, before Momma leaves, before you all go home, is I would love to take a group picture. Maybe yeah, let's do that. Okay. So, all right, go ahead.
All right,
Chad,
so
go ahead.
it sounds like Worthy is a very confident individual, and Momma is definitely a very confident individual. Do you feel like when you go into Momma, do you feel more confident as Momma as you would as Worthy?
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I
Like,
totally do.
okay.
And here's the really interesting thing is that all my friends will see me transition from worthy into mama. There's a transition point. And it's interesting because I can wear heels, I can wear lipstick, I can wear makeup, I have 3 pairs of eyelashes on right now. I can do all that stuff, and mentally, I don't feel any of that. But as soon as I walk in the door of my house or a hotel or wherever, all I feel is like all these lashes on my eyelid, all this lipstick on my lips, and my feet are killing me, you know? So that's interesting how I block out a lot of that stuff. The other thing is that I was in Wichita, Kansas, and I was asked to host this big AIDS benefit there. And you know, the interesting thing about Wichita, Kansas is that Kansas only has 1 center for AIDS in the whole state. So if you have HIV/AIDS in the state of Kansas, you have to go to Wichita to get help. And so there was 3 gay bars in Wichita, because if you didn't know this, I find this, Wichita State or whatever is there has a major dance and ballet school. Have you ever heard of that? In Wichita. So if you want to be a ballerina, you don't go to New York, you go to Wichita. And you know, the ballerina boys are not straight for the most part. So they have 3 gay bars, and these bars were always fighting each other. So if somebody saw you go into this bar, then they wouldn't let you into that bar. And it was, so I came to Wichita, and I didn't know any of this. And so I used to do these cocktails with Momma, so people could buy a $50 ticket, they could have a picture with me, you got free martinis and blah, blah, blah. And they were always a really good seller to raise money for the charities. And that night, each bar sent over their drag queen representative, and they wanted me to come to each bar and perform for their. And I wasn't gonna get in the middle of all that. I said, and if you know me, I'm always about food. Like, I could care less about alcohol, I just wanna eat. Where can we go eat? And so they said, well, we can go through a drive-thru, and I'm like, drive-thru. No. And so I said, take me to a restaurant. And they said, that will never happen. You go to a restaurant and they're gonna throw you out. And I was like, well, this is America, they can't do that. So I went to this restaurant that I wanted, the food there, and we parked in this parking lot, and there was all these football jocks from the university there. And these were like big guys. I mean, I'm a big girl, but they were big. And they all started walking towards us, and the drag queens were terrified that we were gonna get beat up. And so I said, you stay here, I'll go talk to them. Well, earlier that day, I had been on the news, promoting my benefit and everything. And so these guys were like starstruck, like, we just saw you on TV 3 hours ago. Oh my God, we had to have a picture with you. I'm like, of course. I go, boys, I want to go eat at this restaurant. I am famished. I'm about to faint. So if I faint, you need to pick me up. Oh, Momma will do anything for you. I said, come on. I have these other girls here. They're not as pretty as me. But and so we all walked into this restaurant, and the people that were eating were shocked, disgusted. And the owner walked up and said, can I help you? And the football players say, this is Momma from Hollywood, and she needs somebody to eat, and we told her that your place is the best place. And he was like, well, we can open up the back section. And so they opened up a section that was closed that nobody could really see me. And you know, we went back there and ate. Well, these boys and their girlfriends got on Twitter and stuff. And so within about an hour, we had like 200 people at this restaurant eating, doing all this stuff. And that just proved to me again that when you have the personal, you know, self-worth that you can go into a restaurant where patrons hate you and still stand up, you know?
Well, let's go eat.
Right. So, I don't know if you've seen Selma. Has anyone seen Selma? Well, you need to see it. But I'll still be doing a movie called Wichita.
All right.
Well, thank
All right,
you.
let's do a picture.
Okay.